Hey G.I. Joe fans, Joe Motion Videos 82 here. It is time for another G.I. Joe toy review. Today we will be looking at the Vamp Mark II that was released in 1984 as a part of the third series. It came with its driver clutch version 2. Before I get into that review, I want to thank the Green 13 on eBay for sending me this vehicle. Thank you guys so very much. You took great care in packing the item, which I really appreciate. It arrived safe and sound. So everybody, please check them out on eBay. They have great prices. They're very nice people to deal with, to work with, I should say. The prices are very reasonable. It's the Green 13. So to get into the review, the Mark II was released in 1984, as aforementioned. It came packaged exclusively with clutch version 2. They were on the shelves from 1984 until 1985 when they were discontinued. The original retail price was $6.49. For a vehicle being this awesome, I'm surprised they didn't have it out on the shelves longer, until at least 1986. That would have been nice. But they didn't. They were just in their full swing. 85, as we know, with many collectors, is the golden year of G.I. Joe. They were just, Hasbro's in full swing, getting a lot of awesome toys put out, so I could see why they didn't make more of the Mark II. But the Vamp did have several versions. The first being the Vamp, which was released in '82. I'll show you examples of that. There are 9 versions of the Vamp. Anything from a remake of the Vamp Mark II, which came out in 2011, to a new remake of the Vamp Mark II, which came out in 2014. So that was the last time this was on the shelf. The Mark II shared body parts as well as Clutch version 2. He was just a complete remold of version 1, just a different paint scheme. The Mark II, it took pieces from the Vamp and from the Cobra Stinger of '84, and it just mashed it up into an awesome vehicle. I have examples of those I will be more than happy to show you during the review. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at these awesome toys. Right, they are Vamp and Vamp Mark II. You see they are pretty similar, save for the color and a few details. I'll get the elephant out of the room right now. You see clutch is the same, just a different color. So we'll go ahead and set these guys to the side. We'll talk about them later. So the Vamp Mark II, it used the body construction of the Vamp. I should say some of the body construction of the Vamp. That you could see some of the similarities. The wheels are the same. I just added a door onto this one. But the back part, you can see they have turrets on them. This one has a gun and a missile launcher, but it has similar machine works. So these two were borrowed from one another. Instead of having a rack for gas cans, the body was was primarily taken from the Stinger. As you can see here on the Stinger, it has this roll bar, or a handrail, I should say, where the two water cans on the Mark II would have been mounted. So these vehicles are pretty much alike. The Stinger has a winch on the front, so does the Vamp. And the Stinger here should have I'm missing this piece, so I'm not ready to review the Stinger. It has a push bar, and they replaced it with these lights on the Mark II. On the front of both vehicles, you can see that they both have shovels, and they put a tent on the front of the Vamp instead of these. It looks like a fuel canister or an air filter system, as they did on the Stinger, and they used a canopy on the top of both vehicles. But interestingly enough, they both have a grill mounted on the top, which has a crossbar on it, and you can see it there. The Stinger does not have that crossbar. So there are a lot of similarities in these vehicles. All three of them are fantastic vehicles. I enjoy them all immensely. They are a great piece for anybody's collection. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the Vamp. It comes with two doors that swing out. This door is broken. I want to point that out. This is it's made up of a soft plastic, which is very nicely textured. If you could see that, it's has a canvas texture to it, but it is prone to breaking due to play stress. So as you can see here, it's missing the part that clips on. But the doors do swing out. The top cover comes off, and it too is made out of the same plastic. So you can see it's a neat little detail that's showing up. You can see where it has an outline of where this would have rolled, where this side had rolled up, just to kind of give it a nice little comparison. They didn't have to do that for the sculpt to get the point across, but I'm glad they did. It's very beautiful. It's a neat little detail. And here on the bottom, you can see there are clips. This side is broken off where it clips right onto the top of the vehicle. Now on the inside of the vehicle, you see it looks like a radiator or some sort of a cooling system behind the seats. Very nicely sculpted in there. It has a handset radio. I hope that's coming in, but no, unfortunately it isn't. Oh, we can get it from the side. There's a gear shift in here, and right in front of the gear shift, Hasbro really went all out when making this, but there's another radio communication system in there. There's a dashboard with gauges. Another commonly missing piece on the Vamp, and yeah, mine isn't 100% complete, but it's missing the steering wheel. It's very commonly missing on the aftermarket. So you do pay a premium. I've seen steering wheels go for up around $15 just for the steering wheel alone. So if you do want 100% complete Vamp or Stinger, you have to, if you can't find it with the steering wheel, you have to pay for it, and you do pay. So Let's go ahead and flip it around. As you can see, there are 2 water cans on the back. They peg into these little holes. Nice. Yeah, it's nice, but you know, I would prefer this old system where the cans slot in on the Vamp. I'll get into that when I review the Vamp. But the Mark II, it has these 2 stickers which I'm going to repair. Sorry I didn't do that before, but it says 1 and 2. So when you're looking for this on the aftermarket, be sure you get the 2 correct cans, because they are different. They are sculpted differently. The handles go on the outside. So that's something to watch out for. So the main weapon system on the Vamp, and the only weapon system, is this missile pod. It comes with 4 removable missiles. They seat in there fairly well. These are pretty decent looking. A very nice sculpt on them. It is the ROX 5 missile. Very nice. I like this play feature a lot, and I think this is something I would have used quite often as a kid. It really punches it up. So as opposed to the Stinger, which has 4 rockets, this has 4 missiles on a similar missile system. This is a desert vehicle, if you have not figured that out yet from the brown color. This did make multimedia appearances in the G.I. Joe cartoon as well as in comics. It has Scorpion logo on it. Several very nice decals. You know, this is a nice vehicle. I really enjoy it. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the figure. He is the same as Clutch version 1. This is the straight arm Clutch. Version 2, since it came out after the swivel arm battle grip was released, there is no straight arm version of Clutch version 2. He came with 1 accessory, that is the standard generic G.I. Joe helmet, just in the tan color. He did share body parts with his arms were used for breaker and rock and roll. His chest and waist piece were shared with 12 of the original 15 G.I. Joe figures. His legs were shared with breaker, grunt, hawk, rock and roll, short fuse, stalker, stealer, zap, and the tan grunt. The head only turns from left to right, as he is pre-1985. His arms do rotate around 360 degrees. He has a 360-degree swivel arm battle grip. They do extend out to the side so far. His legs extend out to the front 90 degrees, and his knees bend at a 90-degree angle. His joints are nice and tight, save for his knees. They're a little bit loose, but that's an easy fix. And he does have an O-ring on the inside, which holds him together. I do like the sculpt on him. His head was also used for breaker and rock and roll, as they have the standard G.I. Joe beard. I'm glad that they kept the hair color the same, because if they would have changed that, I would have been pretty upset, like they did with Hawk. So that created some confusion, but I'll get into that when I review General Hawk. But he has what appears to be a vest that goes over his tan shirt. He has his sculpted on chest holster with a sculpted pistol. He has pads on his shoulders. The holster does wrap all the way around. It goes under his arm. He has a pocket on the front. He has pouches on the sides of both legs. This pouch has a neat little feature. It has a zipper sculpted onto it. He has a standard G.I. Joe boots. They're black with a little bit of brown on there. So he's you know, a tan figure with splashes of black and brown, which, you know, it's cool. It works really well with the desert figure. I'll show you how he fits into the Vamp. As you can see, there's a lip on the end of the canopy. You want to slide that underneath and then snap it down onto the front. He is kind of hard to get in with the canopy cover, because you'd have to sit him in on the side and kind of mush him in, or you could go the easy route, pop the canopy cover off and just seat him down on the inside there. And he fits very nice in there, nicely seated. Just go ahead and put the doors on. They snap into place. This door obviously won't snap into place since it's damaged, but it does somewhat lock into place on the vehicle. The missile system rotates at 360-degree angle. It does tilt up and does fire level. The wheels are on a hinge, or not a hinge, but on a steel rod, which does make them roll in unison. The wheels are made out of a hard plastic. As you can see right here, there's a little bit of stress mark on these wheels. So that's something to look for on the aftermarket. It appears that this is either stepped on or a kid pushed really hard on it when he was playing, and it caused a little bit of stress on the wheels. But it is the same wheel that was used with both the Vamp and the Stinger. And this is the standard mold, and for its time, you know, the wheels were commonly used. On the bottom, it has the Hasbro date stamp of 1984 with the Hasbro logo up here, and has a universal tow hook. Pretty cool stuff. Do have the file card, which is really nice. To me, the file card really completes everything. You see this was attached on the back of the box where it was just clipped off. Upper left-hand corner, it reads Vamp Mark II driver, codename Clutch. File name Steinberg Lance J, serial number RA757340802, primary military specialty transportation, secondary military specialty infantry, birthplace Asbury Park, New Jersey. His grade is E4, which I believe is a specialist, which would make sense because he is a vehicle driver. Clutch was a mechanic at Manny's Mean Machines and was heavily involved in racing street machines prior to enlistment. He graduated Advanced Infantry Training, or AIT, Covert Ops School, Executive Bodyguard School, which does make sense, as he is a driver, so he would need to know some of the bodyguard training and tactical and defensive driving. Ranger School, which does coincide with the Executive Bodyguard School. It's pretty cool. He's a Ranger. Just like several other the GI Joes, are all special forces. He's a qualified expert in M14, M16, M19, 11A1, M3A1, M79, and M60. Bottom paragraph reads in quotations, he greases his hair with motor oil, rarely shaves, well duh, he has a beard, and he chews on the same toothpick for months. Clutch still calls women chicks. Okay, so it shows that he's a little rough around the edges and he's not quite gentlemanly. So, I didn't read much of the comic when I was a kid. I have dyslexia, so reading really wasn't my favorite thing to do. But I'm starting to read the comics now, and yeah, Clutch was definitely different in the comics than as he was portrayed in the Sunbow series. He was pretty rough around the edges. So with all these vehicles together, man, let's zoom out on that. I mean, I wish they would have put these, I wish that they would have put these out in a 3-pack, or at least these two together. The Mark II and the Stinger, is they do pit up against each other fairly well, with both having a missile system on them. They look great together. They display very well together. In fact, I have them all displayed together on one of my shelves. I remember when I first saw the Vamp Mark I and the Stinger. Some kids brought them to school. I fell in love with them immediately. I actually got to play with this one out on the playground. The other one, the Stinger, I didn't get a chance to play with. When I saw it, a kid named Adam had it in our reading class, and that was the first thing I noticed right when I walked in. I mean, just this black vehicle with these red missiles, it just stood out. It really popped. In fact, the teacher made him put it away because it was distracting to many people. I think it was just distracting me. So I was easily distracted as a kid. My mind was always somewhere else. But these are beautiful vehicles, all three of them. I really love having them as a part of my collection. I was pining after the Vamp for a long time, and when I finally found it at a reasonable price, I was incredibly happy. It was almost complete. I had to buy the gun later, and it doesn't have the steering wheel, but like I mentioned before, the steering wheel really doesn't bother me, and I can't justify spending $15 on something like that unless I was going to resell the vehicle. Then I'd recoup my investment. So let's go ahead and rate the Mark II and Clutch. For Clutch, with his accessories, I'll give him a 2 out of 10. He just had the generic G.I. Joe helmet. He did not come with a gun. I really, really don't like when vehicle drivers don't come without a gun, because we didn't always play with the vehicles as kids. We would have to take a gun from another action figure and give it to the vehicle driver if we wanted to use them in combat. Or even if their vehicle got destroyed and they were able to get away from it, they would still need a weapon. So I didn't like when they didn't come without an accessory or a gun. So he gets a 2 out of 10 for that. Articulation, I'll give him a 10 out of 10. He did well, especially with the swivel arm battle grip. His sculpt, I'll give him a 7 out of 10 simply because they reused Clutch version 1 to make version 2. Paint, he's getting a 10 out of 10 for a possible 29 points out of a possible 40. The paint scheme on both Clutches are fantastic. They go well with the vehicles and the environment that they're intended to be played within. Now the Mark II, for accessories, I will give it a 10 out of 10. It has the canopy, doors, and the missile pod, or the missile launcher, which in my opinion is fully articulated. It had removable water cans that you could use. Those were really neat features. We didn't necessarily use the water cans as kids, but it's still on there. Hasbro didn't have to do it. It is really cool. it reiterates that you need water when you're out in the middle of the desert. For its sculpt, I will give it a 10 out of 10. It took parts from both of its predecessors and made one awesome vehicle. I mean, they used the sturdy wheel construction. These wheels hold up. The steel rod in between held up to really rugged play. I mean, you had to put some stress on these vehicles in order to damage them, with the exception of the softer plastic. That just broke down from play wear. As you can see on the Vamp, the guns tend to fray from play. You know, it's a soft plastic. So it's a great vehicle. It's sturdy. It's withstood the test of time. You really had to beat the snot out of these things to break them. So it gets a 10 out of 10 on sculpt. For color, it gets a 10 out of 10. Playability, it's a solid 10 out of 10 for 40 out of a potential 40 points. This is all three of these, but the Mark II is a top shelf vehicle and action figure. I mean, if Clutch was just by himself, he would be on the middle. He would be a middle shelf figure for me. But Clutch is a great action figure. He was used in the cartoon. I enjoyed the Clutch in the cartoons. But the vehicle is definitely top shelf for me. So yes, this is definitely a top shelf vehicle. It has so much going for it. It's rugged. It has cool accessories. You can fit any vintage action figure in it. Some of the modern figures fit in it as well, but you have to take the canopy off if you want to get a nicer look. But I won't go into that. Modern figures are great, but this is a vintage review. I cannot say enough good about this vehicle. I loved it as a kid. I still love it. But if you're looking for it on the aftermarket, it is pretty common. There are quite a few of them out there. The prices really depend on condition. These, once again, are set prices, not auction prices that I'm quoting here. If you want a complete Mark II, that's steering wheel, driver, file card, I've seen them go from around $40 and go up. If you're looking for the driver, again, depending on condition, about $8 on up. I think the most expensive I saw for a set price was $25, and that was because, well, no, it was a little bit more. It's about $35. That's because he was on the card. He was still in the bubble, so he was mint condition. For the vehicle itself, $12, incomplete. It's a little bit easier to get the incomplete vehicle. You could do what I did with the Vamp. Buy what, if you're on a budget, buy the vehicle as whole as you can get it, and then buy the accessories little by little. Sometimes that runs you a little bit more, but it's worth the gamble. In my opinion, anyway. The accessories sometimes are a little bit harder to find, especially with the gas cans or the water cans, because it does have a left and a right. That's something, like I've mentioned before, you really have to watch out for on that. The water cans on the Vamp, they're the same. Meaning the same is that it's the same mold. There's no left or right. It's just a sticker marking 1 or 2. So that's not such a big deal as it is with the Mark II. So pay close attention to that. Don't be afraid to ask questions. A lot of the sellers out there want to sell their items, so they will answer your questions. Another thing to look out for, like I mentioned, the gray plastic on here, it is a softer kind of a fibrous plastic. It does break easily, so look at pictures, ask questions on that. But the body construction, it's great. It's durable, it's sturdy. The missiles, they're all the same, so don't worry about that. Also, this part, the tent, that's removable. So look for that. The tabs on that could break off. That one's seated on there fairly well. So this has been my review. I hope that you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed sharing this with you. That it's, like I said, I hate repeating myself, but this is a great vehicle. I know many others share that same opinion. It's just it was the highlight of my day when I got it. I still get excited when I look at these in my collection room. So I want to thank all my subscribers, each and every one of you, those who stuck with me from the beginning and those who are joining my channel. Thank you guys very much. I can't do this without you. Please get out there and share this video with your friends. Let's get my subscriptions up, because I'm holding a giveaway when I reach 100. And I'm also doing a giveaway in July. That's when I started this channel. It'll be my year anniversary, so I'll be holding a giveaway for that. I'm not going to mention what prize for that just yet. So go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs down, that's fine. Please leave me a comment. I really want to hear from you guys. I enjoy talking to each and every one of you that leave comments. I've cultivated a lot of really good friendships from this channel, just by people leaving comments. If there is a toy you would like to see reviewed, please take a look at my tour collection video and the tour of my collection room video, I should say. Get ahead of myself in speech. Go ahead and look at that. If there's an action figure or a vehicle or even a place that you want to see reviewed, if I have it, I will be more than happy to review it. My schedule as far as reviewing toys isn't concrete, set in stone. I will fluctuate. If there's you have an idea for a stop motion video, shoot that out to me. I'll be happy to do that. I had David, one of my viewers, requested a Christmas video, so I shot a Christmas video. I'm more than happy to do these things for you guys. So, all that being said, this has been Joe Motion Videos 82, signing off. You guys have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.